welcome to Femmes, Thems, and Searching for Gems. We are back to talk about all things nerdy and wonderful. Today, I am your host, Bailey, and I am joined by my lovely friends, Laura and Beth, and our producer, Scott. Say hi, Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Good job. Today, we are taking our conversation away from the broader conversation we had last time and focusing in on, honestly, my favorite part of gaming in general, character creation. I love the idea of taking an idea that you had and building it into a full person. It's probably my acting background coming back into play. But what I would love to talk about first is getting an idea of how we create characters, where we pull our inspiration from, giving people maybe a little bit of inspiration themselves in creating characters. So I'm going to pull it to you two right away. I just am curious, how do you start building a character? Where do you start? Do you start with the mechanics? Do you start with a picture in your mind? Do you start, I want to be a druid, and then build off of that? I want to hear what you do.
I think usually I start with the world. If I can't envision general time period location, it's more difficult for me to picture myself as this character and how I would fit into that. And then it's a pretty collaborative process. I'm chatting with the other potential members of the party and seeing where we want this to go. It's rare that I'm coming in fully formed and I'm not coming in, as they say, married to a character of like, I must play this and heads will roll if I can't. But there will be elements that I don't want to budge on.
For me, it usually starts with, what are we doing? What is this game going to be? Are we doing a grand adventure? Is this intrigue? Is this going to be something seafaring? Is it... I want the DM to tell me just the basics. Doesn't have to be like anything specific. Just tell me what that is. And then it's usually, okay, talk to the other players, see if anyone has something they're really set on. If they've got something they're really set on, I'm usually like, all right, X that off the list. I'm not going to do that. Again, same as Beth, I'm very rarely set on a character. It's very rare that I'll actually be like, oh, no, I have to do this. I have to, or I will lay on the floor and die like a toddler. But I do tend to also, when I'm looking at what I'm going to do, I tend to come up with the background first. Okay, so take a seafaring campaign. Am I doing a cabin boy? Am I doing a ratline crawler?
Are you doing an experienced sailor versus a newbie sailor?
What am I thinking? And then usually the ideas just start rolling in my head. And the background is kind of my starting point. Almost always.
Yeah. I find I do that a lot more too, where getting the feel or the vibe of the campaign is probably the most important thing, because you don't want to go into like a really dark campaign with a person who has the happiest little joyful backstory in the world, because it just won't, it's not as easy to fit in. There's always a way to justify it and make it work, but you want to find something that fits with the tone of a campaign. But I find myself starting with a backstory quite a bit too, because you can start off so simply. But what are the things that you both said? There are some things that you will not budge on. Give me examples of what you're thinking about like that.
I think specific to a character, like if I've got some vision, say I want the character to be undead, and that's what I want to shape around it. And it's like everything else can be malleable, but that's what I'm picturing for this campaign.
Yeah.
That, but also in addition to that, there are certain, I mean, we all have certain lines we won't cross with our characters. I can't play an evil character. I cannot. I've tried. I've played evil campaigns. I am chaotic neutral at worst. It has been discovered.
Yeah.
So if the DM says, this is going to be an evil campaign, I'm usually like, that's icky, and I'm out.
Yeah. Well, it's a great thing to know your boundaries right away when you're going to campaign, because in that example, it's either I'm out or you find a way to make me not evil, but still a part of the team. Maybe I'm like the evil henchman who's trying to be good.
I can be Kronk.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's bad guys, and then there's bad guys.
Golden Retriever henchman.
Exactly.
And Kronk, absolutely fits into that.
But if the rest of the characters or the rest of the players are going into this, we're going to rape and pillage, I'm like,
Yeah, fair.
No. I also tend to, like you, like, my happy, sunny characters don't need to be in Ravenloft.
No.
I want them to stay innocent and sweet. It's like every character is a little piece of my brain.
Yeah.
And a little piece of me. And having played Call of Cthulhu and watched a character I really, really loved descend into madness and alcoholism, it was not fun.
Yeah.
And I don't really enjoy that. So
Absolutely fair.
if I started with a character that was already fairly far down some negative paths, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing what I'm going into is nice to know where I should start.
Yeah. When you are creating your background stories, and I know we talked about this a little bit in our session 0 talk that we've had, what are the points that you tend to start with when you're creating a backstory for a character? Are you thinking about their family? Are you thinking about where they are now? What do you find is the most important thing to help you build a character?
I almost always have a linchpin thing that has happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a formative experience, whether it's a long one or just an instant. But usually that comes into my brain like, oh, this happened to this character, and that's what sent them down the adventuring path. That's their why.
Yep.
And I need a why, otherwise it's hard to say, yes, I took this bookish character out of their library full of interesting things.
Yeah. Why would they leave? Exactly.
So I always need a why. That's
Okay.
always where I start, and I build from there.
Yeah. What about you?
I try to picture like 5, 10, 15, 20, like a day of my character at each of those ages. And then I can fill in the stuff, what changed, from 5 to 10. And I can kind of picture, here's how they changed. Okay, now why? So I have to go back and create something that justifies that much of a change from 5 to 10. Did they change it all from 10 to 15 and so on? But if I can kind of live in a day of that character at each of those points, I can shape it pretty well.
I don't think I've ever thought about thinking about the childhood of a character because that is so monumental to a person's development is their childhood, how they were raised, where they were raised, the whole nature versus nurture situation. That's really interesting, and I'm probably going to start thinking about that a little bit more because as something I've told my players in like a longer term campaign, you didn't start out on this earth at whatever age you are. What happened to get you here? How did you become a thief? How did you become an archer? Like someone taught you how to do that. You didn't just pick up a bow and automatically know how to do that. You learned a spell from someone. Who was that someone?
I also tend to not flesh it too far.
Yeah.
Because who they are today is really going to be about who I'm interacting with in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And if I put too much time into who they are, it's harder to fit them in with everyone else.
Yeah.
Like if you've got a whole bunch of thieves and you've got a rogue and you've got dragonkin, you've got all kinds of things going on in the party, but I already hate dragons, as was said before.
Yes. We've talked about this.
Yeah. I try not to flesh too far.
Mm-hmm.
And also because I generally don't write down my alignment.
Oh, interesting.
Because it usually comes out of kind of how I end up responding to what's happening in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll write down a base alignment, like where I'm intending to go.
Yeah.
But it's not always where it stays.
It doesn't stay there.
And
Yeah.
I usually talk to the DM and I'm like, look, I know I said chaotic good, but this is chaotic neutral and we both know it.
Yeah. Alignment tends to be for me one of the few things that matters but doesn't as a DM because I want you to play how you would play. Even a person who's chaotic neutral sometimes will make the good choice or the bad choice. So putting someone into a forced alignment, like it doesn't change anything on the scale of like how you're playing or how people are interacting with you. It's person to person interaction. If you say that you're going to be chaotic versus, true neutral or whatever, I'm going to expect you to make some wild card choices. I'm going to expect you to go off the rails just a little bit, but everybody does every once in a while. It's not just a thing that I expect you to, well, I'm chaotic neutral, so I'm going to do this thing. But if you feel like you need to go make a good choice every once in a while, that's fine. You're not stuck in your alignment.
And I think a person's personal measure of chaos really informs that. So someone might be playing what they think is pretty lawful, and it's still completely out of left field because they are a batshit human being most of the time. Like as we bring in theater people, like people with wild, magnificent backgrounds in their IRL existence, their version of chaos looks really, really different. So they may be like, what? I'm playing this straight lace. And you're like, really? By your own definition, tell me more.
Stealing the coin purse off of the captain of the guard, that's a good thing?
It's like, yeah, but I didn't stab him or turn him into a frog. I just nicked it. What's the problem here?
I mean, fair.
I am following my own code of ethics.
But everyone at your table has a wildly different code of ethics, and you learn so much about people.
That's true.
You get to know people.
Yeah, it's interesting conversations to have, especially when you're playing with friends that you've known for a very long time. And then you see them do something that it's that kind of wild card moment, and you go, how did I not know that how did I not expect that you were going to do that thing? That's truly something I should have seen coming, and it shocks you a little bit when you don't. Taking us back into character creation a little bit more, let's say I'm saying we're going to do a pirate campaign. Do you immediately start thinking of a story? Do you immediately start thinking of a picture of how this person looks? Do you say, well, if it's a pirate, then they need and you come up with the class? What button do you think you would hit first if I'm the DM and I say it's a pirate campaign?
Tim Curry, Muppets Treasure Island.
Honestly, yes.
Singing, dancing, talking lobster on the shoulder.
Listen.
Rocky Horror Picture is involved.
It is exactly.
So just Tim Curry. You want to be Tim Curry.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I mean, we all want to be Tim Curry, but
yes,
very few people can.
Yeah, fair.
For me, I'm probably going to go into my D&D books, and I'm going to look at my seafaring collection. And I'm going to say, is there anything in here that's really hitting me? And almost every time it'll be something. Mm-hmm. It'll be like, oh, hey, I've never played a water druid before.
Yeah. I think when someone comes to me and they're saying they're starting a singular campaign, one of the first things I do is I think of a character I've seen in a movie or a book before that is very similar to that. Like I would think of, what's the Professor Doppler from Treasure Planet? Is that what his name is? He's the dog guy. That's where my brain would go, is they need the weird scientist that lives on the ship that isn't actually a pirate, that I want to put him into that campaign. So I'm thinking about a character in a cartoon or a book or something that is in a setting that I can also throw into that campaign. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I am actually basing the character off it. I'm not making a dog person scientist thing, but maybe that's my inspiration starting point of I need a low dexterity scientist nerd who's there truly just to read maps and tell them where to go.
But sometimes it is a dog person,
but sometimes
and you
it
are
is a dog person
actually referencing a character, because I do that every now and then.
But that's such a trope. That's Milo Thatch in Atlantis, which is absolutely a pirate story.
Yeah.
And like the scientist nerd who is the only reason they're on this trip in the first place.
In that situation, just because that's where my brain is going, is Milo the friendly NPC that you are as the party trying to safely get there? Because it's such a singular central character. Are you the rest of the party that's also like, we don't really like this guy, but we're going to get him there because he's promising to pay us?
Or he speaks the language, or he knows some kind of code to get us in, and he's completely squishy. Like one hit, and this guy is down, so we have to protect the nerd.
Protect him at all costs.
Or we're not getting into the Forbidden Kingdom.
Protect the cheerleader, protect the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And looking at Atlantis specifically, at Milo specifically, honestly, he'd have to be an NPC because the entire rest of the party is in on the plot.
That's true.
You don't have
knows the
one
plan.
player not knowing that you are going to steal this culture's big thing.
And if they are actually doing that, you need to talk with your DM and say that wasn't fair.
Yeah. So he almost would have to be an NPC.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's nice to have like one player who knows that other things are going on around them, but is kind of more central to the plot, but not necessarily the whole plot.
The center of the plot. I think as a DM, your goal is to make sure everyone gets to be the center of attention at least once during the campaign. You should, everybody's written a story, they've all written a character, they all have a unique goal that they want to accomplish. And it may be very similar goals. We may all want to do the exact same thing by the end. Take, for example, the campaign that I'm playing right now with a bunch of my friends. We all want to solve the mystery of this underground cavern that's supposedly a treasure trove. We all want to do that. But I also want to find my mom, who I haven't seen in a long time. This person wants to figure out why they are sent out to kill me. This person wants to know what is the biggest treasure we can find, and my goal in life is to be a treasure hunter. Everybody has a specific goal in mind, and it's a good DM. You want to be able to sprinkle in those story moments to make sure everybody's involved and not to focus on one person for too long.
And also make sure that one person isn't having to make the party be the glue. And bringing it back to character creation, as a femme, finding myself being the peacemaker was really, in my early D&D years, was really, really common. And I'm like, this is the DM's job. In my head, the DM should be the person bringing the party together. If the DM can't bring the party together, then the party isn't helping. The party also needs to help. You shouldn't have a specific player having to be the peacemaker with the rest of the party. And I found a lot of times when I was a new player, I was kind of expected to be the peacemaker.
Let's talk about that. That's a great segue into one of the other things we're going to talk about tonight. Is a lot of femmes or femme-presenting humans, when they start D&D, they either feel the need or feel the push from outside influences that they need to play the caregiver, the healer, and not just as a cleric or somebody who actually has the healing spells, but they also, I think maybe even as parents, we can speak to that a little bit too, of immediately femmes we are the peacemakers. We are the ones who keep the kids from fighting. We are the ones who bring friends together. We are the ones that make the plans. How is a way that you have either seen that in your own groups and tables that you have played with? How have you, I don't want to say confronted because that sounds really aggressive, but how have you faced that? What did you do to maybe solve? What kind of conversations did you have around that?
I don't think confronted is the wrong word. Because sometimes you have to be aggressive. Sometimes you have to say, look, I'm not going to be the fluffy character every time.
Yeah.
But as I said, a lot of times when I was a new player, I was the peacemaker. And I kind of pushed myself the other way by being the big, strong, independent woman, don't need no man. And like, okay, well, then I'm going to play a paladin and she's going to smash your face in if you're not being nice. Yeah. But that gets to be even more almost of a problem for me because then you get pigeonholed real fast.
Right.
I have dated men who looked and went, hey, you like playing the healer. You could be our healer.
You could do that for us.
And I'm like, or I could not.
I also really want to smash a goblin in the face with a big old great axe. So maybe let me do that. Have you ever faced anything like that, Beth?
Oh, yeah.
So fast.
Yeah. It's a trope for a reason.
Yeah.
Especially because there's it's rare that you're going to have a party of even equal gender split, but certainly not a ratio of men in the minority. So typically it is like the one femme. And how do you exist in that space. Wayne Brady talked about this a little bit in no, it'll all come back to improv. But Wayne Brady talked about this on Whose Line Is It Anyway? That when you are the one minority, whatever that minority is, if there's two of you and someone makes a joke about that minority, it could be about anyone. When there's one, it is always about you. No matter how the person telling it meant that joke, to the audience, it is always about you, and your reaction determines whether you are one of the cool ones, if you are accepting the joke.
I always felt so bad for, what was her name, Kathy? She was like the one girl who would show up on Whose Line. And even as a kid, I didn't get it fully, but I always felt bad for her.
Yeah. Over the years of improv, there were many conversations that for a few years I was the only femme on the team. But when there were one or two of us, of like sitting the guys down going, this is how it feels when you make these kind of jokes. This is how the audience views us, because you are telling it about some random woman out there, and the audience hears it about us, me standing here on this stage.
Playing the character that you were talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So same thing in a party where there's 5 guys and 1 femme at the table. You become a threshold and a gate for what is and isn't allowed, and you have to set those boundaries, because it can become a game almost of push, push, push and see what's allowed.
Yeah.
And so it's that same thing of, if you don't hold that line, you can get nudged into that caregiver position.
The other thing that I've seen, especially as a femme when I was younger, the older I get, the less I get it, thank God. A lot of times it's, well, my character's going to flirt with your character. It's not with you. I'm not flirting with you.
Yeah.
I know that you've already shot me down. But my character
would like to flirt with you.
Would like to flirt with your character. And not even would like to, is going to.
Yeah.
That to me is far worse than the I'm going to stick you into the fluffy role.
Yeah.
Or the strong independent woman role. Or the whatever pigeonhole they want a woman in. You're going to be our token girl to flirt with. And then you get 3 different characters trying to flirt with you. And you're like,
okay.
No?
I just want to hit something. That's why I'm here. Thank you for providing ample targets, but
that is actually what happened one of the games when I was young and new is I got very tired of it, and somebody's player decided they were going to take a joke too far and get in my space, and they got punched in the face by my fighter character who was very good at punching things in the face.
Yeah.
And they tried to call it out as that was not necessary. I could have said something. And I'm like, I've been saying something for months.
Yeah.
I've been saying something for so long. At what point were you going to listen?
Yeah.
Well, violence, character on character violence is never okay. No.
it's totally okay.
You started it.
Yeah.
That was...
You pushed a line. You crossed it. That's what happens.
And then you found the response.
And that's all on the DM to notice and address.
Yeah.
Address it privately with the person doing it. And if they can't adjust it, then address it in game, in circle.
Yeah. I have found myself getting into the habit for a little while of being the last person to put my character stuff into the group chat because I wanted to fill that gap.
The chameleon.
I wanted to make sure that our party was complete. I wanted to make sure that everyone was having a good time. So I was like, I just want to play a genasi. I know that much. So you guys tell me what you're going to play and I will fill in that space. And I've been doing a lot better about it with my last few campaigns. But before it was like, well, no one picked a healing character. No one picked a caster. No one picked ABC, whatever. I guess that'll be me. We just did the Witchlight Festival campaign. We finished that last year. And it was one of those where I don't want to play a full healer, but we need a person that has heals. I'll play a paladin that has some healing capabilities. And I still loved the character. I loved the way that I got to play her and be chaotic, but also it was that force of I can't do a smite because I have to save my heals for this barbarian who keeps throwing themselves into battle. This last campaign that we started, I would like to have no magic. So I'm playing a fighter. I am a water genasi, so I have like shape water. That's all I have. I have no spells. I have no way to heal anybody, take care of anybody. And I immediately tried to build the character as someone who was the natural born leader but hated doing it, was the forced to be leader. And already in the campaign, it's like, well, that person, you make the decisions, which is fine. That's kind of how I built the character to be. But it was also that moment of like, I don't necessarily want to make the choices. Like, I'm trying to give you guys the freedom to do it. But then as the caregiver, the person who's naturally the peacekeeper in every situation, every household she's ever been a part of, that's just the way that you get slotted into the character building process.
But even saying, I don't want to have any magic, is that a reaction? Is that trying to get out of that box?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it was my way of saying, you guys need to figure it out. And I think this time, because it was with the same group of people, so we'd finished one campaign and then the same group of people started the next one. So I went into the group chat immediately and said, I'm not being a magic person this time. And I just said that out loud. Whoever wants to be a healer, great. And then, of course, my husband, who's the DM, pops in and says, well, you don't need a healer to play in the campaign. But he also warned us that this was like a very tough campaign where there's going to be a lot of battles and a lot of fights and not a lot of healing potions around. And we went, we kind of need a healer. We need one. And then 3 people volunteered to be healers.
Yeah. But I think if no one did, then that is on the DM to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
If they're saying, I have created a game that requires a healer. Mm-hmm. And if none of these players want to play one of us has to budge.
Well, it's like the video game trope of you're going through an intense level or something, and right before the boss battle, there's a hidden vase that has 4 healing potions in it. And then your brain goes, I'm going into a fight right now. Mm-hmm. I'm going into a battle. It's a part of a DM's job to either, if you are preparing them for that, there has to be some access to healing. There has to be some awareness of your players of, you will not get healing. So you need to think about this. I can't think of the word. Tactically is the word I was thinking, but I don't think strategically. Thank you, Scott. Strategically is the word. Tactics is the word that was coming to mind, but I couldn't make it an action. Strategically, to plan out how you can avoid attacks more, use more shields, things like that to keep yourselves out without needing to do as much healing. So, but that's all conversations. We've talked about this on multiple different talks that we've had. Talk with your DM.
We've gone into fights where I'm like, hey, everyone, I got 1 spell slot left.
I'm saving it for the person who needs it. You are
completely on your own. I can't save you. Mm-hmm. I can throw some assertive cantrips.
Assertive cantrips.
I can keep you from dying all the way.
Yep.
That's it. One thing that Jacob had done to help with this campaign was he made health potions completely cheap. Like a regular healing potion, 5 gold pieces. And that was completely an accident because he misread the book from 50 to 5. He left out the 0. But then once he said it, I wrote it down so that he had to keep honest to that. But that was how he solved the whole, like, not everyone will have this resource, but when they do, it's dirt cheap for you guys. So you can afford to use it.
As a femme, though, one of the ways I've found to get around that is call it out.
Yeah.
Like, guys, like you said, I'm not going to have any magic. No, I'll say I'm not going to be the heals this time.
Yeah.
I was last time, and I don't want to be. I want to do something smashy. Somebody else do it. Mm-hmm. And in most of the groups I've been in, that works. In the few groups where it doesn't work, I've found I don't actually want to be in that group.
Yeah.
Like, I've found that it is more symptomatic. Mm-hmm. It is not the whole problem. It is a small symptom of a much bigger, much scarier problem, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, lack of consent.
Yeah.
Like, the whole smashing somebody in the face because they took the flirting bit too far. That was also a group where I said, I don't want to do this. And it became a problem. And I was like, why am I in this group? Why am I doing this? What am I
getting out of this?
Yeah.
Is this fun? No. No, it's not. And D&D should be.
Yeah.
So I moved on.
I'm curious a little bit. I'm going to pull us back from this part of the conversation because I'm starting to think more about like physicalities of characters. I've never really played a character that's had like a physical impediment, like missing an appendage or an eye, or they're deaf or something along those lines. I'm just curious if either of you have tried to throw something like that into a character. I know with Par, in the campaign we're playing with Twin Pearls right now, we had the issue of you can only repeat what you've heard from other people. Par is a Kenku, so they can't speak anything that they have not heard before, but we've fixed that problem as a group. We had the conversation of, you are in a theater troupe. You have heard many words, traveled many places. You have the whole dictionary at this point in your in your back pocket. Lexicon. I love that. That's a great word. But I'm curious if you have ever played with anything like that, or I've seen some people who have had a magic user, but their magic isn't always accessible. They have to like roll an Arcana check to make sure that their magic works. I'm curious if you've ever toyed with that and how have you addressed that with your DM?
So
you look excited.
I had a first ed magic user. She's a gnome named Pip. She was very, very fun to play because first ed magic users, as they level up, are terrifying.
All right.
But our whole party was thrown back in time, and Pip's spellbook got left behind because all of our stuff got left behind. So I had to figure out how to get my spells back. Any of them.
Ooh.
No spells. None. And Pip functioned as nothing but magic. Like, she didn't have any other skills.
Yeah. And was this time jump known to you before the campaign started?
It was not.
Gotcha.
It was halfway through a campaign.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, we had to stop after the time jump and finish out the rest of that session just as why would you do this to us? Like, there was rage. Not just mine. Everyone in the party sat there going, what do you mean our stuff didn't come with?
We've been playing for 3 years and now we have none of our equipment.
And some of it was soulbound and didn't come with.
Oh.
And so, yes, we all had to stop for a minute. But what we ended up coming up with is I had to roll to come up with the spells that I could remember. And some of them I had bonuses to get because they're spells I had cast many, 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 many times. Spells that I really didn't even need to think about anymore.
Sure.
But some of the others, I didn't get back. And talking with the DM, who was not always the most reasonable human, I said, look, this character is now severely handicapped. Severely. I need something to get around that. And finally, we found a wizard's tower with the chance to find that wizard's spellbook.
There you go. Yeah.
And that was really the way we got through it. But with physical handicaps, I do that more as NPCs.
Oh, sure.
As a DM, I like to give, okay, you have a swashbuckler, and yes, he has a hook hand, but he's real good with that hook hand.
What about you, Beth?
So I recently played Ilka, an undead character, and Ilka spent 100 years dead, like you do.
Yeah.
And needs to be in physical proximity of their phylactery to stay functional and in good spirits.
To stay undead.
To not return to the realm of the dead. And we had a very similar thing where so my phylactery is a concertina with my grandfather's soul inside it. Yeah. There's a whole connection. It's a really cool backstory where my grandfather knew that I was set up to be the next high priestess of the Growlhund family. And to circumvent that, he killed me and stored me in the land of the dead for 100 years and then brought me back. Like you do.
What a
for
great
your granddaughter.
Grandpa.
It was
I
good
love
of him.
that.
He decided that was not fair.
Exactly. But Ilka Ilka's interaction with life and death as a result was a little different, I think, than most humans, which made for some occasionally dark choices that to me were like, oh yeah, that's absolutely what she would do. And occasional glances around the table. She's undead.
That's just how you connect the story together.
But on physicality, there was a time where we went through a bag portal. There's a lot of episodes that run together, but we got completely separated from our stuff. And
you
so
did it for 7 years, so it's okay.
That's okay. It was a long ride. But Ilka started deteriorating. Right. And so my strength took hits, my dex took hits, and myself and the DM worked this out of like, how is this going to work? How long do I have? What's our plan here?
Interesting.
And I was monitoring it, but Ilka was not yet ready to share that with the party. So there was a little bit of they don't know quite how dire things have gotten over there, but I am looking ragged around the edges.
We're looking bad out here.
And the DM Matthias would bring that up from time to time of like, Ilka doesn't look so great.
Interesting.
I also played a character in Exalted who had essentially permanent dark vision, but as a result could not go out unveiled during the day. So during any daytime ventures, functioned blind and would wear either full blindfold or heavy veiling, and just could not abide any amount of sunlight to their eyes.
I love that.
I think on the rounds of things like that, I've done kind of a lot of things where it was cost-benefit analysis to what had happened. I had a character who, a deck of many things, may have altered her hands permanently. And she was a caster.
Oops. Sure.
Her hands became like bear claws, and she learned how to use them to attack things, but she also had to relearn how to cast.
Yeah.
And I worked out with the DM, like, somatic component bad. And so for a while, I had diminishing failure chances on my spells because hands no work same.
Different fingers, different ways to make runes. Yeah.
And that to me has always been an interest thing. Like it's a handicap, but it's not. I got to smack so many people with those claws.
Yes.
Just big old paw right upside the head.
I think when I'm thinking about characters, I don't think so much about physical abilities like that because I'm creating a character that needs to go on an adventure. So I don't want to make something that makes it overly complicated for myself or for the DM to have to justify everything all the time. But I do a lot of like the mental or the like cultural challenges. Like my Water Genasi character has vitiligo, but instead of like how I have it where it's just a different neutral skin tone, her normal skin is like a dark tanned color, and then her vitiligo showing through like green and blue as like a sea person.
Yeah.
So she stands out very much from her mostly human community, and like one of the reasons she left is because she just felt like she didn't belong there. So she stands out quite a bit, and I try to think about ways like that to maybe just make the game harder. I do that a lot in video games too, where a lot of video games, weirdly, are always like elves are the shunned. They're the people that aren't as always allowed in normal stories. I almost always play the elf or like the tiefling or something like that to give myself the more interesting story. I don't want to be welcomed everywhere. I want to feel like I'm earning my spot as their hero because that's always the end game for these games that I play. We talked a little bit about pulling from inspirations. I am curious about where you find your most inspiration and how big is your character journal right now of ideas and hopes of characters you really want to play, you don't think you'll ever play. I'm just sincerely curious for all the people out there that are maybe just starting D&D or maybe curious about it and they're like, well, I don't know. Like I have so many ideas and I don't think I'll ever get to play them. I'm just going to put a blanket statement out there. You will never get to play every single character you come up with unless you become a DM and you create them as your NPCs. I'm just going to put that out there.
I was actually going to say that when I come up with the character and I don't have a game for them, they go in my NPC file.
Exactly. But where do you find inspiration and how do you turn that into a character? Because I feel like that's such a skill that comes from either years of experience or years of theater training in general, because you have to be able to pull those things out of a hat. Personally, I find a lot of mine from cartoons and from TV shows, because I'll see, like, I'm going to just keep bringing her back because I love her, my water genasi character, almost fully based off of Katara from Avatar, but she isn't a waterbender, she is a fighter. So she has like the background, the maybe ability somehow to unlock that water sorcerer kind of vibe. But right now she just hits things with a sword. But that's where the idea of, what if you had Katara, but she didn't have her waterbending? She would be a fighter because she's protective. She likes to protect people. I talked about this in one, but this is my favorite. Like, he's in my book. I'll probably never play him. But McWilliam Falcon. It's because my middle child cannot say Millennium Falcon and said McWilliam. And then immediately my brain started going, okay, swashbuckler rogue has a little pet Chihuahua that calls Chewy. They have a crossbow. They always shoot first. Like, I started making this whole thing. He is basically Sam the Eagle as an Aarakocra, like full. And sometimes that's just where the inspiration comes from. So I'm curious about where your inspiration comes from.
So
go.
I'm a musician when I'm not here, and my brain never doesn't do music.
Yeah.
So some of my characters are like, I'll work through an album and try to create a character off of each song. So like Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here" has "Shine On You Crazy Diamond," "Wish You Were Here," "Have a Cigar." So like "Have a Cigar" is this very mercenary executive who's booking the band and knows so little about them. He says the famous line, by the way, which one's Pink? That he doesn't even know who their names are, that Pink Floyd doesn't exist. So that against absolutely broke bard trying to make it, who's never going to, who got snapped up and then sucked into this world. So like creating a character for each of the songs. I have a whole lot for Florence and the Machine. Like What the Water Gave Me, a waterbender who spent way too long at the bottom of the ocean and is a little distorted in their reactions and interactions with people, because they got sucked into a maelstrom and just lived down there.
Naturally.
My Boy Builds Coffins, just a small town coffin maker who was the only one left after the town got razed and built the coffins for everyone left and then left the town.
Tragic.
Love it.
Beautiful, though.
It's so good.
That's a great backstory.
I have so many. But yeah, albums work great. And then looking for, can I judge the characters so I have a cohesive party out of this album? Anyway, that's what my brain does.
I love that. I've never looked at an album and thought this would make a character. Great idea. I love that.
For me, it tends to be distorted versions of either book or video game or something characters, movie characters. But really, it kind of starts with a trope and the character becomes the character as I play them.
Mm-hmm.
Any character I've made or played has become an NPC in my homebrew world. To be clear, some of them have become very important NPCs. Pip, as I was talking of earlier, actually in our campaign was deified. She is now a goddess in that world.
Nice.
She is a goddess of knowledge and of magic. And actually, that was one of her prime motivations in the game, because she accidentally made other deities mad. And the only way to get out of fighting them was to become one. And then they couldn't start shit with her because she would be off limits, essentially, in that world.
Love.
Because a god war had just happened and it was now absolutely unacceptable to start anything with another deity. So Pip is a deity in my world. But because of that, I will probably at some point turn her into a 5th ed character that's one of her disciples. Not her specifically, but I will make a 5th ed character that's one of her disciples. Or I will make a character that is the great-great-great-great-great-grandchild of one of my other characters. Mm-hmm. I've had enough characters over the years that the tropes are all getting recycled at this point. It's hard to come up with something new, something truly novel. And when I do, let me tell you, I'm very excited about it, like unreasonably excited about it, and I have to find a game. But because it's really hard for me to come up with a trope that I haven't played or at least made a character for, sometimes it's really fun to take that backstory and be like, oh, now I have more flesh.
Yeah.
I can put way more on this.
It is fun to play a trope every once in a while, though. Like, you play the rogue who's, my family's dead and I've been raised by a guild of thieves. Yeah, you have. Mm-hmm. And are you any good at it? And that's where you can play with, I'm actually really great and I'm like in line to be the successor of the whatever League of Assassins throne, whatever. And you're making that path. Or like, actually, I'm really bad and all I want to do is go to music school. You know, you can take the trope, start there, and then wherever you want to take the character.
I played the child of I think it was magic item creator who had a level of wizard because her family insisted she was going to be...
You go to private school.
You are going to make magic items with the rest of us. And when she had apprenticed for 1 year, she was sent out to gain levels and to learn. And immediately, she fell in with a cleric who she realized that was her calling. And she was a 1-level wizard cleric.
I put myself through a challenge. I think this was a COVID thing where you're just home and what are you going to do? So I printed off character sheets, one for every class that there was. And I just made a level 3 character in every class that I could think of. And then my challenge there was not just to do the math and have the character sheet ready in case we did a one-shot. Because we were doing a lot of online playing with family, with friends. Like we would just call people up and be like, hey, we're doing a thing tonight. Everyone log on. And I wanted to have characters ready. But I would have to force myself to create a mini backstory. And part of the challenge for me was to go as far away from the trope as I possibly could. Like I had a druid who fully was like a controlled burn druid who believed that burning stuff is actually good for the earth, and she was very committed to that, which is why she got kicked out of her druid circle. I had a rogue who was fully loved and supported by their family, who were just like a little family of thieves together, but had like 4 brothers and sisters and had a mom and dad and like aunts and uncles, had an entire clan that she just loved dearly and would send money back to them. Like trying to come up with ways to play into the trope, but also turn it on its head, I think is just extremely interesting.
I had a bard who was very, very bad at music. Very bad at music because she wasn't a bard at all. She was actually a ranger
who just liked music.
She really loved music. She thought she was a bard. Her charisma was like 9.
Amazing. Well, that's a really interesting way to play a character, to actually role play a character, because a bard at level 1, they might not know music. They might have picked up a lute once and decided, I'm going to be a musician. Right. By the time you get to level 20, you should be a rock star. Everyone should know you and your music. But at level 1 and 2,
you got potential.
You got a recorder.
You got like grandpa's little lute
hot cross buns.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe like skip to the loo if you're really like been practicing.
Ooh,
but,
Mary had a little lamb if you're
Yeah.
just in the groove.
So it's just another way to think about creating your character too. Is I think this is one of the byfalls that come from a brand new character. Is you come in and you're like, I've been in a war and I'm decorated war hero and I am known across the kingdoms and I am a level 1 fighter. And you're like, if you were in a war, if you were actually decorated, I'd expect you to be at least level 7.
Yeah.
You've been in a war, you've fought enough, you've gained enough experience, you are known by enough people to be at least a folk hero at that point. I would expect you to be there. At level 1, I expect you to have gone through basic training and dropped out. Or you're still there and you're on some sort of mission to get to soldier school.
Yeah.
You know, it's something to keep in mind is that you're not a great adventurer at level 1. That's why we want to level up so bad, so we get better.
You have hopes and dreams.
Exactly. Yes.
And really, if you've already done all these things, why are you adventuring?
And that brings you back to the why.
I have this shiny little level 1 character, and they want to go out into the world and do big things. And chances are they're going to do big things. They just might not be the big things that I intended to do.
Yeah.
And you see the flip side that you get a character who you've played for years or you've just leveled up and the world is small. There's not much that the DM can throw at them anymore. They've been adventuring for so long. There's often a whole lot of loss and grief. And it's like, this isn't a whole lot of fun anymore. Like, what all can you actually fight? What can you throw at me that's still a challenge once we're past level 16? What's out there?
And for me, that actually is like, you are so far into the campaign, you're just trying to kill the BBEG. Or defeat the BBEG if you're not trying to kill them.
Yep.
You're just trying to finish your missions so you can rest.
One thing I think about a lot too with the choosing the adventure, right? You want to have a character that fits into the adventure, but what happens when the adventure changes halfway through? I was listening to a podcast once where very similar to where there was a time jump. But this one was a time jump into the future. The DM put it in the middle of the session and said, okay, and here's where all of your characters are. It wasn't tell me where you are in 2 years, because we're going to time jump now. The big adventure is done. Now let's skip ahead. Let's do some downtime. 2 years later, something else is going to happen. No, this was, okay, it's 10 years in the future. You are now all evil people. You are on the evil war council. You have done this. You have done this. And she said that she's never been so shell-shocked in a game, not only because of the lack of communication, but it took her character in a way that she never had planned on. And that's part of, we talk about that a lot, is over-communication, citing your boundaries, making sure that we're in a safe space. What would you do with your character in that instance of, would it be okay, that character can live in the world and can be that, here's my new character? Or would you actually try and adjust and still maybe justify, I'm still a good person, I'm just forced to be in this situation? What kind of, have you ever come across that for your character and where the DM took your character in a way that you weren't prepared or ready for?
I don't think I've ever had a DM tell me what way my character went. They've taken the story away and gone a direction that I wasn't comfortable with in the story, and I had to react with my character. But I think if they had gone, okay, you went from being the good guy to on the evil council, I would need to have a really long conversation with that DM to stay in that game.
Yeah.
I think I would have to. I would have to sit down and look at him and be like, what is my motivation for being on this council?
Yeah.
You tell me how I got here, because I know where I was. You tell me how I got here.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing here. Like,
what is my goal? Why am I here? Am I a spy? Am I actually evil now?
And what is your goal? Because it needs to be something better than, I was curious how you would react.
Yes.
It really does.
Yep.
If it's that, then I'm out. You are not ever going to DM me again.
Yeah.
This is how I react.
Our time jump was 100 years in the past.
Right.
And we had stumbled through a thing. Like, we had come across a thing, and I don't know if it was planned or not. I just know that we found a thing that was in the world, and it threw us back. It was one of the least fun experiences of my life as a player to begin with, because I don't have anything.
Yeah, starting from zero.
I don't have any contacts. I don't have any people to go to.
You don't have your circle. Yeah.
I don't even know a single human being who's alive right now. We didn't have any historians in the group. It's not like we could go, okay, well, this is about when we are, this is what we could look at. We knew nothing.
Yeah.
And that was hard to deal with. If you try and tell me where my character went, nah, bruh.
So kind of on that, when you create a character, do you ever go in saying this is kind of my roadmap of where I expect my character to go? Or do you just say, here I am at this moment, put me into the world?
I think I'll often have touch points. Like, here's something that is important to my character that I want to get resolved. I need some of those. I can't just be, ta-da, I exist, tra-la.
Because as a real person, you have goals.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
I've done both. I've done where I'm dropped into the world and, okay, well, my character's village burned and now I don't know what to do. I just know that I am here and joining this group of people because I need to survive. Are there little touch points like I want revenge? Sometimes. But not every time. But then I've also had characters who had an entire roadmap in their head of what they were going to do with their life. Did it go that way? No. And I told the DM what the roadmap in her head was, and they went, okay.
Heard.
There's a parable or a proverb that I think we twist a little bit here. We plan and the DM laughs.
Yes.
When I create a character's backstory, I think mechanically of the touch points. Like if I'm starting as a level 1 bard or whatever, I'm probably already going to have my school picked out, like what kind of bard I will be. So that way for the first couple levels, that's when I'm going to play a little bit more. If I'm a dancing bard, if I'm a bard of eloquence, whatever. So I'm going to play that so that it makes sense when I get to level 3 that that's the school that I've chosen. But I think that's kind of where it stops. Like I plan to the subclass. And then after that is I have my one overarching character goal, and that is going to be my goal. And sometimes it's a driven goal. It's the only thing that I want to go for. It's the only thing that's pushing me to go anywhere. And sometimes it's it's not world ending. I've been looking for this person for 25 years. 2 more years is not going to make a difference. This person is in danger now. I'm going to go help them, but I'm going to keep that urgency in the back of my mind, like I still want to look for this person. I'm not dropping it.
You don't happen to have 6 fingers on your left hand, do you?
Exactly. It's one of those where it's like, I'm going to ask the question to every person I meet who's said that they've seen a water genasi. I'm going to ask them the questions of, did she look like this? Did she have this? Was she carrying this? Which direction did she go? But then I'm going to note that, go on with my quest, and come back to it when it's not an urgent need.
Going back to a DM going in a different direction, we were playing a campaign where partway into it, I want to say 10, 12 episodes of kind of murdering, beating up beasts and gremlins and out in the world. We ended up back in a city and almost immediately got arrested with assault charges because that is who our characters were. I don't know, we hit someone in a bar or something like that, whatever. And it was really jarring for my character to be like, wait, hold on, we were in this very fantasy world, and now we are scarily close to reality. I think I want to say this was around the George Floyd protests, where I was like, why are there cops in my D&D game? And in particular, that we got hauled in for questioning. And it was very realistic, and they like would not listen to us. We're using sneaky, crappy cop tactics.
The lantern is over your head.
But like the cross-examining, the questioning, that it didn't matter what we said, it didn't matter what evidence we had, and the DM was really bent on like you need to end up in the dungeon for my plan to work. You guys have to get down to the dungeon. I'm like, great, maybe there was a way to get us down there that didn't involve all of us living trauma right now. What a concept. But the rules felt so very different from what we were up to out in the wilderness.
It was a shock of the system,
absolutely.
which takes you out of the game.
Yeah.
Last little question, and then I'm going to have us play a game. So this is I feel like this is kind of an easy question, but not everybody has it. And I'm going to open this up. D&D, any TTRPG, and video game. Are there any classes, character types, or anything that you feel like you're drawn to? And are there any types that you would never, ever play? Is there something that's on your list of, I will never play a warlock, I will never play a tiefling? Do you have anything that's on your do not play list? And do you have anything that is on your, like, I will always go for this type of character? To me, it's easy, but if it's not...
I tend to play the woodsy types.
Yeah.
I like being outside. I like being in the woods. I tend to play druids and rangers, but I also enjoy playing magic users. I like all of them, but I do tend to be drawn more toward the woodsy types. As for things I won't play, honestly, as I said before, I can't play an evil character. And it feels icky.
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel icky when I'm playing D&D.
It's supposed to be fun.
And that's just not me.
Great.
And some people enjoy it for various reasons. And whatever, that's your game. Just not me. That's my only hard no.
I can do evil. I think
surprised.
it depends on the flavor of the game, especially if we're in a comedic realm. I'm so good at evil comedy. That is a happy place for me. But actually, like, I'm going to brutalize someone, that's not really my jam.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Verbally.
I will always eviscerate someone verbally. I'm so good at it.
Evil comedy, I think, is a different genre, though. Evil comedy? No, I will be comedically evil, but I'm chaotic neutral. Let's be real.
Absolutely. The nevers have to do with gameplay style. Like, I always want to be a collaborative player. I'm not interested in, I am this one person. I am so bent on my mission that I don't care what the rest of the group is doing. Mm-hmm. That's not fun when I'm watching it. That will make me nope out of a group. And I never want to be doing that. I think my characters usually want to be out in the world. I don't know that I'd be much of a lab rat. And as for something like a warlock, I just have enough of a problem with authority that I don't think it would end well for me. It's not off the table.
You don't like being told what to do?
It elicits certain reactions that my patron would have to tango with.
Which I feel like as a DM, I love the idea of an unwilling warlock.
I have played this.
Because it's truly like, okay, then I guess you don't get spells today. What are you going to do about that? Try Eldritch Blasting something without saying
I would be a mundane warlock, basically.
Yeah. So I think it's, it's
right, now I got to play that.
Write it down in the journal. As for me, I'm just a person who, the idea of playing a warlock to me just feels not as mechanically strong. And I keep going back to mechanics because that's where my brain likes. I like the numbers and I like the abilities and things. But the idea of only getting 2 spells. I know that there's so many other abilities and things that a warlock gets throughout their pact. But for me, that's just a thing where it's like, I would never use those 2 spells because I want to save them for when they're really, really important. I am a hoarder. I am the person who picks up everything in a video game and I hold it till the end and then I go, wait, but I should have used that in that one battle. Purposely, I'm talking about Baldur's Gate right now because I just finished finally my first run through and I'm starting my second run through and immediately just using all of my resources.
Yeah.
I'm not hogging spell scrolls. I know how many I get through the whole game.
Also, then your bags are full all the time.
My bags are full and my chest overflowed in my camp, and then I had to sell things. And now it's just like, I'm going to take everything, but I'm also knowing I can use things and I'm not going to be scared about using things.
I feel a little called out when you say the hoarding things.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
In games, yes.
I'm also that person, though, because you never know when you need the resources. I collect everything. I don't know how to craft things. I still pick up every herb that you can find in that game.
It's a pretty flower and I'm going to pick it.
It says I can get it. I'm going to get it. When I think about video games, too, I'm also the person, like I said before, I'm going to create the one that I think is going to be the most interesting story-wise, because I have to live through this game for a long time as this character. But I almost always, and this goes back to me playing in my little backyard's forest as a kid who was 20 minutes away from any of my friends. Nobody could just walk over to my house, so I played alone quite a bit. I created fantasy worlds where I was female Legolas, out in my woods, and I would make a bow out of a string and a piece of wood that I'd find. It's amazing, honestly, that I didn't play D&D till a much older age, because I was such a storyteller nerd child for so long before I discovered D&D.
But is that because the boys wouldn't talk to you about D&D because you're a girl?
It's because I grew up in a conservative rural town.
Okay, yeah. I went to high school in the late 90s. Boys didn't talk to girls about D&D because then the girls might not talk to them anymore.
No, it was truly this is a thing of the devil. Please do not talk about it. And the people that do play it, you do not talk to them. And that was fine, because I was like, fine, I don't know anything about this. And until I met friends who said, you like dragons and elves and swords and things, come play this with shiny, shiny rocks. And I went, okay. Mm-hmm. Speaking of shiny, shiny rocks, we are going to play a game.
Yes.
That it shouldn't take us too long. We're going to play it. It's a little character creator game. So we are going to do a character creation challenge with each other right now. I have in front of me a list with 3 different tables. We have race and classes, both fully available in 5e and 2024. I had to truly sparse down the race list so much, because when you Google playable races in D&D, you get everything. And I was not about to bring my 100-sided die out here. So I have classes, I have race, and then I have styles of campaign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a dice. I'm going to pick our style of campaign that we are all going to play in. We're creating a party together. And then I will roll each of you for your class and your race. And what I would like is a quick physical description. It doesn't have to be fully thought out. It can be truly like, they are 6 foot with long hair. Great. If that's all you can come up with, that's amazing. First name, if you can think of one quickly. And then the shortest little backstory that you could ever come up with. Part of the challenge is to try and do this quickly, though, because I would like to use this as a way to show people that backstories don't have to be fully thought out 10 pages long. It's fun to do that. But also, if you are getting ready for a game and you have not thought of something and your game is tonight, there are character creator things like this all over in all the inner space that you can use to help you come up with these things if you do not have any idea of what to do. All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So first off, we are going to find out what style of campaign we are in. Okay, we are starting in the Feywilds. And then I need to find my dice. Okay, we are going to pick everyone's classes. So for Beth, you are a wizard. Laura, you are a barbarian. And I am a druid. And now let's figure out what you all are. Beth, you will be a tiefling. Laura, you're a genasi, and that is general, so you can pick which element you want. And I am an Aarakocra, or an Owlin, or a Kenku. I put bird people as one number. Okay, so do what you can to quickly come up with a character. And whenever you are ready.
I'm ready.
I love it.
So my character is an air genasi, and she is a barbarian, but she was raised with a clan of nomads, and they found her in the wilds, in the Feywilds, and they thought she was a gift from the gods. So they raised her to be a fighter, to be a very good fighter. And now she needs to go off and prove that she is an adult and able to be her own person. But she has been her whole life told how amazing she is, and then is gotten her first fight and totally got her face smashed. So now she's looking around at these people who helped her out and going, what do I do? She's about 5'8", not exceptionally tall. And she has white hair braided down her back in several braids that are all braided together with stuff in the end so she can hit people with it.
Amazing. Braid flails.
Yes.
I love it.
I'm her roommate. I'm a wizard tiefling. I didn't start as a wizard. I started as a nearby grocer. And my carts of fruit and wares kept getting smashed to bits by this character in the various fights that were happening. And eventually I was like, look, you either need to come up with more vegetables for me or we have to work out some arrangement. And what she could come up with was I have like half a closet that you can live in and I won't charge you rent. So I am this bitter, disgruntled wizard living with her, trying to come up with ways to get my vegetables to grow using wizardry.
Great. I'm going to build my character off of that then.
Great.
I am a blue jay Aarakocra.
Yes.
Her name is Jet.
Oh, I need a name.
Doesn't really matter if you can't come up with a name.
Grisabella.
Great. That's a great
The vegetable wizard.
The vegetable wizard.
Zephyr.
Yes.
I'm going to be very, very generic here.
Jet, the blue jay Aarakocra. She is about 5 feet tall, like pure blue jay, but like the tips of her feathers, because she grew up in the Feywild, kind of have that iridescent, sparkly tone to them. So it's not like the effect of you can see the magic swirl behind them, but you can tell there's something magical about them. She is a garden druid. So she actually keeps on trying to grow like normal vegetables that she saw in the human realm, but they always turn out different. Like her tomatoes are always purple. Her grapes always come in more like large clusters versus a beautiful vine. And she gets very, very frustrated by them. She still sells them and they're very delicious. But for some reason, her vegetables and fruits do not grow the way that she expects them to do. And she keeps on trying to sell them to you to sell to other people. But for some reason, there's just like, I can't make this happen smart. And she's a druid, but she's not great at what she wants to be great at.
And my character has been told all her life she can bless things to grow. And she's like, I make smash good. I make smash good.
It's a very, I'm thinking of Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh,
Yes.
where just committed to their garden, but there's always somebody who's tumbling through their garden, smashing things.
Yeah.
There we go. We just created a party in, I was going to look at my watch. I'm not wearing one. Under 5 minutes. That is amazing. We're going to do one more, if that's all right with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're going to get a new style of campaign. Okay. We are in a school setting. Fantasy school. You are training to be whatever. Take that how you will. If we're going to play teenagers or if we're an adults going to school, doesn't matter to me. Okay, let's get some classes here. Beth, you are a sorcerer. Rogue. I'm going to roll that again because we've already gotten that one. Paladin. Okay, and school setting. Got to write myself down, otherwise I will forget. Okay, let's get some races. Halfling. What is that? I got elf, half-elf, drow. I wrote them all under the same. Listen, when you have 100 to choose from and you have to get it down to 20, that's what you get. And then, half-orc. And we're all going to take a minute here. Takes a little bit more thought for me to get to where I'm going. But if you have thoughts, go for it. I'm just going to write my notes.
I'm totally the class clown.
Remind me what you are again?
I am a half-elf rogue.
Okay.
And she never really fit in anywhere because half-elf. So, like, elven mom, human dad, was kind of not necessarily shunned, but not really a star in either community. So when they sent her off to school, she realized she's really good at picking pockets. And she discovered that she could make it kind of a joke and make it fun. In exchange for one of these silly pranks and giving stuff back, one of her classmates turned her hair rainbow. And she is very, very enamored with it.
Ooh.
So I have rainbow hair, about 5'2", not exceptionally tall, but really able to kind of turn the sneaky ability into something that makes me likable, just like me.
Oh. You got something, or you want me to go?
You go for it. What do you got?
Okay. I am a paladin half orc. Her name is Tina. She stands at 6'7", but she never stands to her full height because she feels too tall and awkward in her body. So usually she's at a hunched 6'4". Still very tall compared to all of her friends. At this school, she goes to this school specifically because her mom was the all-star, grade A school president, all the things, and is forced to go to that school as well. She definitely doesn't like the fact that everyone knows her because of her mom. And I think the paladin part actually comes from almost family ancestry, because there's such a long line of this family that great adventurers, really well-known artificers, like everybody in her family is just really good at exactly everything they do. And then there's Tina, who doesn't know what she's doing, but she has this dedication to her family that is unsurpassed. But it's real hard because she's not the best at everything she does. And it's mostly because she's very underconfident in herself, but she's a teenager. She'll get there. And I feel like the connection that we could build from that is you probably tried to pick her pocket one time and she just let you.
And we're misfits.
Yeah, we both sit at the same lunch table together. We probably don't talk very much because I'm very awkward, but
I am also very awkward.
Good.
I'm a sorcerer halfling. I'm 3'10". I'm small, but I stand up very tall all the time. So my backstory is that my parents thwarted great evil in their time going through the fantasy school system, and I'm completely paranoid because I have been raised with these stories, and so I believe there are cursed magical artifacts. I'm checking for traps everywhere. I'm certain that someone is evil and someone's planning our doom, and it is actually a very safe and very peaceful time in our lives, and Bracklevine just cannot buy that.
I'm obsessed with her.
That's what I got.
So Shazza is looking at you going, I there's no trap. I looked. I promise. It's okay.
It's truly just you two holding hands going through the hallway, and every time you hear a loud noise, you're like, what was that? And me constantly doing the divine sense of, nope, it's fine. Mm-hmm. We're good.
And I'm constantly like, no, it's okay. You're okay.
Somebody's going to learn calm emotions and my world will change.
So I just want to do that as a little exercise to show people that building a character doesn't have to be a long drawn out thing. Yes, the math and the mechanics part takes time to experience, but if you have people in your group that know that, it's a great way to get yourself introduced into the game, to sit there and go over the things with them, look at the books together, and figure out the math part. But coming up with a character doesn't have to be a big scary thing. You don't have to have a large background. It doesn't have to connect to big family. It doesn't have to connect to large adventure. It can be truly the smallest thing of, I have high anxiety over scary things. That is such an interesting thing to play as a character. And as speaking from the DM side of it, even the smallest detail like that is such a fun thing to play with, because you can constantly have them playing perception checks. You can constantly have them doing Constitution saving throws. Can you keep yourself from being scared. I watched a campaign once where mechanically they actually created a character who had an anxiety disorder. And she and the DM had worked out a anxiety roll, which is basically a Constitution saving throw, and whether or not she had taken her medication that day. And okay, now you're under the frightened condition for the rest of this battle until you can succeed in a saving throw and get yourself back in there. There are ways to put things that you want into a game. You just have to communicate with your DM. I want to thank you for speaking with me so much on the characters. I love creating characters. Is there any final words of advice that you would give when it comes to making a character?
Don't overthink it.
Yeah, go with your first instinct. It's usually right. It's usually brilliant. Lean into that first instinct. We second guess ourselves so often, and we try to fit some mold or predict what's going to be needed. But your first instincts are usually beautiful.
And if you come up with something and it's not working, you can always shift. Characters grow.
Scrap
That's
it
what they
completely.
do.
Mhm.
Characters grow, and they're supposed to.
And if you feel as if your character doesn't fit in the campaign anymore, or has outgrown, or has gone a direction that you're not ready for, send them into the world to exist and come back with a new character. You have learned more. You know the campaign. You know the people that you are playing with at that point. And that is okay to send your person out into the world to be an NPC. I wish I would have known that in my first campaign, to just say, this person doesn't fit with this party. I'm going to play someone new. Having the confidence and the comfortability with your DM to have that conversation, I think is just so important. Or even just to say, hey, I don't feel like I'm fitting in with this group as this character. What should we do? And as a DM, you and your player can work that out. Long story short, have fun. This is a game. Create someone that you will enjoy living with for a long time, and find inspiration out in the world. Themed.
No!
No, we are going to talk for 2 more hours.